This could have been Game of the Year. So gameplay wise, this is Game of the Year material. It's a card game, yet it feels impactful. Characters feel accurate to themselves. Spider-Man feels like Spider-Man. Iron Man feels like Iron Man. Every character plays differently. The environmental takedowns here are always in the back of your mind when it comes to the gameplay and how you can implement them into your strategy, because combat works by you have 3 characters. Sometimes you get to choose all 3. Sometimes there might be a required hero, so maybe you have to take Wolverine with you. You pick the other 2, whatever it may be. But then you start the mission with your first 5 cards. You have 2 redraws by default. So if you want to switch something out, you can switch 2 out. You may have a card that gives you more redraws, or just simply lets you redraw 2 cards, 3 cards, whatever it may be. But then some cards give you hero points, and some use hero points. So your stronger attacks will use the hero points. And so you want to take that into consideration. Okay, I'm going to use this card, it will give me 2 points here. I use those 2 points here. And you implement that into your strategy. There's a small chance you'll get another card play once you defeat an enemy, but by default, you have 3 card plays per turn. So how the environmental takedowns come into play, you can chain them with your attacks for more damage. But also, let's say you use all 3 card plays, you've got a couple hero points left over. What you can do is you can throw these environmental takedowns or trigger these environmental takedowns, and you still have access to them because they're not a card, so they don't take up your card plays. So everything you're thinking about. You also have a move. It's not an XCOM kind of game where you take cover, this and that. Everyone's out in the open. But you have one move, so maybe you want to get into a better position so you can use an environmental takedown that shoots in a straight line, so you can take out multiple enemies with that. You might want to, there's sometimes an enemy might shoot a projectile that will go off on the next turn, so you want to move out the way of that kind of thing. Some enemies do die in one hit, regardless of what attack it is. Just any kind of damage will take them out. So you want to take that into consideration. Maybe you got an attack that can attack 5 different enemies, but it's kind of weak, so you want to use that. Or maybe you want to save the environmental takedown. You're always thinking of a different strategy, a different play. Enemy variation is not too much of it. You are going to fight a lot of the same enemies a lot of the time. It's not 1 enemy or 2 enemies, but they recycle bosses a lot as well, which isn't the best. And bosses could be a bit better, I'd say, too, But gameplay wise, this is, for a card game, I'd say this is probably the best it gets. I like SteamWorld Quest. It's another turn-based card game, but this here takes it to the next level. It's impactful, there's more strategy. I think this is the best card combat game, gameplay-wise, that's out. Full stop, that's it. And the reason I said could have been Game of the Year is because the gameplay here is so good. The one problem is, or multiple I guess, is everything else. And by everything else, I mainly mean the story here. The story is not it. The characters read their lines flat with no emotion. The lip sync, everything is off. It feels lifeless. The story isn't interesting. And to be honest, I'm not even too qualified to speak on the story, because after a certain point, I just started skipping through it. I said, this isn't it. I want to get back to the gameplay. This is clearly the highlight of the game. And so I just started skipping every time some dialogue would come up. Now, I did like some of the busy work outside of the combat. You can upgrade your abilities, upgrade your equipment, train this, there's a few things here. Send heroes on missions for new cards, but then if you send them on a mission, they go do it on themselves and you won't be able to use them in one of your missions. So, just juggling all the busy work, there's fun to be had there. But some of the busy work, there's going to be encounters where you have to talk to people, and that's when it falls off. Also, I didn't like the microtransactions here. Really, they kind of bothered me. Because, I'm all about the drip, I'm all about looking good, I'm trying, So there's some customization here. The character customization's decent. It's not amazing. I got my character to look the way I wanted them to look. But when it comes to outfits and costumes for the heroes, the best ones are behind a paywall. And I almost caved in, but it was two things. It was two things that stopped me from caving in. I was like, one, I can't be supporting this bad business practice. Two, come on, I can't be buying skins in a single player game. That's just a madness. I can't be doing that. I had to catch myself. I almost bought skins. I was gonna be the only one seeing them. I guess you might see them in the gameplay, but I had to catch myself and say, hey, chill, bro, chill out. Recession time, bro, chill out. So it would have been nice if the best skins were just available in the game that I just paid full price for. So I didn't like microtransactions here. Didn't like the story. The open area, you're running around like it's a third-person kind of game. It's a bit stiff. It's a bit off. But it serves its purpose, I guess. But the gameplay here, top tier. Doesn't get any better than this, I'd say. Even if you like card game, I don't know. I think people who give it a shot will like it. I think there's definitely something to like here. Probably maybe not for full price for everyone. I'd recommend picking it up though, at least if it's on sale. If it's on sale, you get it for a nice price. You see what you like, you're kind of interested. I'd say go for it because I had a lot of fun here. Apparently there's DLC coming. I don't know if I get to it, I don't typically return to games too often. But this game here, I actually might. Depending on how the DLC looks, there is a Seasons Pass. Depending on how it looks, I might dive back into this. But if I had to give it a score, this is the difficult part. Because the gameplay is, I'd say 10 out of 10. But everything else is bad. But the gameplay is the most important part of the game. So I'm leaning on between a 7 and an 8. So maybe we go halfway and give it 7.5. I might give it the 8. I'd say I'd give it the 8 because the story was bad, but I skipped the story, so I wasn't suffering. I might give this an 8. I think I'll give it an 8. I'll give it a recommend if you look interested in this kind of game, this style, you want to mix it up, you're tired of the same old. This a recommend for me. This is definitely a recommend for me, but I'm going to see you guys in the next video. You can check out the God of War review. I dropped that. Wasn't really feeling the game there, but it is what it is. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.